If you've ever done a quick fix diet before, or maybe more than one of them, and you have failed at doing that quick fix diet, what usually happens is you blame yourself and you tell yourself that you are not capable of fat loss. How do I know this? Well, I've been there before with trying several different quick fixes and having all those quick fixes fail. And even me, I would blame myself. I'm like, well, I'm not capable of doing this. I'm not capable of fat loss. I'm not capable of sticking to a plan. And that's why I know that many of you listening to or watching this podcast have been in the same situation, or you feel the same way. Now, let me tell you something. It's not you that has failed. It's not you that was lacking the willpower or the adherence or the consistency. Because I know those are the points that you will be blaming yourself for lacking at. The points that you failed at. But here's the thing. It is the quick fix diet that sets you up for failure. Because honestly, no one, absolutely no one can adhere to a quick fix diet long term. I'll say that again. It's not you that failed. It's not you that is lacking. It is the diet, the quick fix diet, that has set you up for failure. So today I'm going to chat about how to rebuild your self-trust after several failed diets. On that note, welcome to today's episode of the Mandy Meyer podcast. As per usual, this is the podcast where we chat all about your health and fat loss and all about how you can get results on your health and fat loss expedition. Before we get into it, please remember my next 4-week challenge starts on the 17th of November and enrollment for that opens on the 13th of November. Spaces are very, very limited. It is fastest fingers first, meaning first come, first serve. So as soon as enrollment opens at 9 a.m. on the 13th of November, you want to sign up so that you can secure your space. Now, let's say you have had several failed attempts whilst doing a quick fix. All of those failed attempts at the end of the day starts making you question your self-trust. Now, let's say you have had several failed attempts at fat loss when doing a quick fix. As I mentioned, you tend to blame yourself. And what happens then is you start believing in yourself less and less and less. And along with that, you start trusting yourself less and less and less. So when you do eventually start tackling this health and fat loss expedition in a sustainable manner, you are going in with very low self-belief and self-trust, purely because of the several failed attempts whilst doing a quick fix. And in words that can look like, well, I've usually failed at week 2, so why will this time be any different? Then you start making yourself believe that you can't make it past the 2-week mark. Or you might say something like, I've never been able to manage or navigate the weekends in a sustainable manner. And by saying that to yourself, again, you start believing that. You are not trusting yourself and your abilities to do so. But to be successful at this thing called health and fat loss, or at any goals that you are working on, you have to believe in yourself. You have to back yourself. You have to trust yourself. And like I said, this can be quite difficult if you have done several diets in the past that were quick fixes. Because oftentimes, more often than not, those quick fixes are the things that are setting you up for failure and not necessarily your ability to execute in a sustainable manner. So number one, if your failed attempts and lack of self-belief and self-trust stem from the fact that you've had several failed attempts at quick fixes, you need to remind yourself that a quick fix is not sustainable and that a quick fix is very difficult to adhere to long term. And that even the most motivated person or the most disciplined person will struggle to stick to a quick fix. And even if they do, they will struggle to keep that weight off because most times it will start coming back. So that's the first thing that I want you to identify. Have your previous failures been stemming from quick fixes? And then number 2, have you been giving up even when doing it in a sustainable manner? If this is the case, I need you to start identifying why. Figure out at what point you gave up. Was it when work became too stressful? Was it when you weren't seeing results or progress? Did you give up when you couldn't execute your plan 100% as what you envisioned you would execute the plan? You have to be able to identify where you gave up or where it got difficult, and that's when you gave up, so that you can start working on it and implementing strategies that will help you push through. But now the question remains, how do you push through? Well, number one, you have to start with micro promises. And what I mean by that is, more often than not, I see people make these massive promises to themselves about things that they're going to do on their health and fat loss expedition. And then they don't stick to those massive promises, and that is what breaks the self-trust as well. Because every time you tell yourself you are going to do something and you don't do it, that also starts giving you the idea that you are not capable of doing it. So ideally, you don't want to be breaking promises to yourself, but how do you do that? You start making smaller micro promises to yourself. Instead of saying you are going to eat clean, for the lack of better words, for the entire week for 7 days, give yourself some leeway and say, I'm going to eat protein and vegetables with 7 out of 10 meals. By doing it that way, it becomes slightly easier for you to achieve. And when you achieve those micro promises to yourself, your brain starts collecting that as evidence as you keeping your word. And that is where you start building your trust. That is where you start building your self-belief again. It doesn't help you set goals and targets that are totally out of your reach and then you don't execute. That is where you believe that you are not capable of doing it. And because you're not executing the way you envisioned, you start breaking your self-trust. And that takes me to point number 2, is break that all or nothing mindset. The more you go in guns blazing, the less you are going to execute. Well, consistently, that is, over a long period of time. And the less you execute, the less you are going to trust yourself. The less you are going to believe in yourself. If you switch your mindset from all or nothing to always something, and you set daily entry-level goals for your habits that are aligned with your always something mindset, you are going to be executing so much more. And by executing so much more, what does that boost? Again, it boosts your self-trust and it boosts your self-confidence. And of course, your self-belief. And that's what you want at the end of the day. And lastly, you need to start reframing failures. And what I mean by that is reframe failures to feedback. Because people, maybe you included, are so quick to say, oh, I failed. Meantime, back at the ranch, it's just a little speed bump. It's just a little hurdle that you can use as feedback so that when you continue moving forward, it becomes slightly easier to navigate that speed bump. If you had one meal that didn't go according to plan, that's not failure. If you had one workout that you missed, that's not failure. You need to figure out why these things happened and use that why as your feedback. And then build a strategy around that feedback that's going to help you better navigate it in the future. Honestly, in my opinion, there are no failures. There are only opportunities to learn, opportunities to grow. And that's what's going to help you move forward. Here's the crazy thing. Many people think that self-trust is built by executing the plan perfectly, consistently, forever, always. But that's not the case. Your self-trust is built by you showing up for yourself, even to execute the smallest of small things when it is messy, when it's chaotic, when it's inconvenient, when it's unglamorous, and when you don't feel like doing it. Your self-trust, your self-confidence, your self-belief doesn't start once you get to the top of that mountain. It starts once you get out the front door and head to that mountain that you once told yourself you could never climb. Don't make yourself 50 million promises for one day or for 1 week. Make yourself 1 or 2 promises and stick to them. Keep those promises. That is how self-trust is built. And of course, how consistency is built. On that note, I'm going to love and leave you like I usually do. Keep smiling, keep laughing, and keep being kind to one another. Much love, your friend who really wants you to start believing in yourself, Mandy.